Here is a look at your gap and go trades for the week of July 8th through the 12th. I will go over price targets, have a gap recap from the week of July 1st through the 5th, and update the chart as well. Hi everyone, it's Dow on the Dow. First up is Tesla. We ended the week at $251.52, up more than 2%. To the north side from where we are takes us to the middle of the trend and the baseline and resistance and a potential take profit area at 257.18. Above that at another level of resistance, 265.71, 269.94, and roughly 274.24. To the south side, VWAP takes us to 247.81. That's basically at -2 standard deviations as well, and a level of support and a potential buy-in area at -2 standard deviations, and another level of support, 244.13 and 239.88. There are many levels of support and resistance within -3 and 4 standard deviations. Now looking left, we have this gap that closed out at roughly 248.20. We hit resistance and we started to fall down. This gap also closed at roughly 240.40. This gap developed this past week and is still in play, taking us down to 231.32. It will also act as support. This gap closed to the upside at 227.06. We had many gap closures this past week. This one closed out at roughly 219.84. I made a video regarding this, so I don't have to spend a bunch of time on our gap and go videos going over just one ticker. I have many tickers to get through for you. Now, this gap developed, we gapped up, and what goes up must come down. So when we turn around, this gap will take us to 210.49, and not anytime soon. We are in an upward channel on the 5-minute time frame. We are not in this zone, not in the channel, not even close. We are going up, moving farther away from these gaps to the downside. And then this gap also developed to the south side at 197.96, and this gap closed. I can see that gap closed right out of the gate on Monday, taking us to roughly 207.50. And that gap, I'll show you this on the 15-minute time frame. I've been tracking all of these gaps for the last maybe, well, I can count it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 weeks I've spent on Tesla to see if we could close out these gaps, and we have. Well, now we have gaps to the south side, but I don't really track gaps to the south side. I'm making you aware of them. The last gap I will be tracking will take us to 291.06, not in the channel until possibly Thursday if we continue our upward trajectory. Back to the 5-minute time frame now. Oops, stay on page. So I'm tracking from here to here, and the channel is still going upward, as you can see. Now, the next one I want to go over is Boeing. I'll clip through these quickly if I can. We ended the week at 184.83, up 0.28%. We are from down here to up here. That is resistance. So we're grinding along resistance here. To the north side, 187.93, 189.57, 191.20. Excuse me. VWAP takes us to 184.38. Another level of support, 181.60, 179.93, 178.40. Looking left, there are no big gaps I am tracking for the week, which is good. I just like nice normal price action where something doesn't violently go up or violently go down. It's just better to not have the gaps, although I love trading the gaps. It's just better for the charts. Nice and steady is what we want. So we started the week at 182.01, closing out at 184. But as you can see, resistance, resistance, and then we start to crack. Oh, and this one right here too. I forgot to say one thing about Tesla. So we started at 197.88 and then ended at 251.52. And that is roughly a 26% return from where we are. But on Friday, we closed at just up 2%. So if you play the long game, you typically make more money. Just like in the stock market and just like in real estate. And I am heavily invested in both. So I'm done with Boeing. What I am looking for is a gap to the upside that will take us to 190.03. We tickled it here, but didn't quite make it up there and started to fall down. So that is still in play, but we are going downward on the 5-minute channel. So we've got to hit these targets and then possibly wick up here and then continue down. But all day long within -2 and 2 standard deviations. And keep in mind, the channel changes constantly depending upon what time frame you are playing. And what gaps? I don't think I'm tracking any more gaps to the south side. Now for Dash, we ended the week. Oops, option R there. Let me reset that. 110.96, up 3%. We are at resistance, and you know what happens at resistance. People take their profits and they run. They will lock in and they will leave, so anticipate that. Let me just fix that. And then we could grind along here or start to make our way down for a potential leg up. The 1-year price target is 135. So resistance takes us to 111.86, 112.88. VWAP takes us to 109.46. The middle of the trend, 108.96. This is support. I will anticipate a bounce at support. 106.98, 105.99, 104.99. Looking left, we started the week at 108.78, ended at a 110.96, still in an upward channel, just making our way up slowly. Bounce here at support, support, sell off at resistance, support. I'm not tracking any gaps to the south side, but the gap I am tracking to the north side, I still have a tickle in my throat. Excuse me. This will take us up to 127.01. Oh, and I saw a gap, which I did not mark. Oh, yeah, I did. I marked that one, so that's done. And the next one is HYG. We started the week at 77, excuse me. We ended the week at 77.43. Basically started and ended very closely together there. 77.43 up 0.30% to the north side, and resistance 77.71, 77.91, 78.10. To the south side, VWAP 77.37 in the blue, very close to the middle of the trend at 77.32, 76.93, 76.73, and 76.54. Looking left, this gap is still in play, taking us down to 76.58. Move my piece of paper there. It's getting in my way with my mouse. So that is still in play, but we are moving farther away from this gap because we are going upward. This gap, and say no gaps, no, that's not true. This gap closed to the upside at 77.14. We opened and closed it that past week. So on Monday, and then on Wednesday, we closed out. And this gap is still in play to the upside. I don't know where it's going to touch. I just move it, and then I clean it up later for you. 77.75 roughly. And that could be a possibility on Monday because that is within -2 and 2 standard deviations. Nike. Oh, I want to show you something. Just my little public service announcement. Please vote these people out. All right, Nike. We ended the week at 75.43, up 0.25%. We are at the middle of the trend and VWAP basically as well. To the north side, 76.54, 77.08, 77.62, 74.41, 73.89, and another level of support, 73.37. Looking left, no gaps really to mention here within this week, but we started the week off at 75.37 and ended at 75.43. Wah wah. But you could have gotten out here for just a quick bounce and then a sell-off. And the next gap to the north side for Nike, which is many moons away, that will take us to, ignore the other boxes and lines. I'll update that as we get closer to that level, but we are not close, not in the channel, not in the zone, not even close. But the target for this one, touching this line, is closer than obviously filling it all the way. But that starts at 79.03. And no gaps to the bottom yet. CVS ended the week at 56.62, down 0.14%. As you can see, we are going down. $56.99 is our next target at resistance, and another level of resistance, $57.35. VWAP, $56.35. Middle of the trend, $55.95, $55.26, $54.90, and $54.53. Let me delete. Oh no, I thought that was on my chart. That's just something else. Looking left, you can see a bounce at support, but still in a downward channel, unfortunately. Now, this gap from the previous week, it's over here, still in play, taking us to 60.62. And then we've got this one gap here that I just talked about, and then we've got this bigger gap that will eventually take us to roughly 67.67. Not in the zone, not in the channel, not even close, still in a downward channel, moving away from this target and this target. But obviously it can still bounce off of support, and then you'll see another sell-off at resistance, unfortunately. But long term, the 1-year price target, 67.31. Next one, SLB, in a downward channel, so watch out for that. We ended the week at 46.14, down 2.47%. 46.29, very close to VWAP at 46.33. And this is resistance, another level of resistance, and resistance here. 46.97, 47.34, and I don't anticipate for us to get to 47.66. Don't hold your breath, but if we do, that could happen by a wick, and then people will take their profits and they will leave. They will lock in and leave. All right, to the south side, 45.60, 45.26, 44.92. This gap developed and closed out last week on Wednesday, and the gap to the upside I am tracking takes us to the bottom of that gap at 50.06. And then the next gap to the south side takes us to 43.69. We're not there yet, not in the channel, not in the zone, not even close. Something to be aware of. Maybe the week of the 15th, possibly, if we continue this downward spiral here. All right, the next one is Intel. We ended the week at 32.02. Let me get a drink of water. Up 2.53%. To the north side takes us to 32.33, 32.61, 32.87. VWAP in the blue, 31.91. Middle of the trend, 31.78. Another level of support, 31.24, 30.97, and a better buy-in area, 30.70. Then buying it up here. Now, looking left, we started the week at 30.97, fell down to support, and then saw a bounce. This is the gap I am tracking that will take us to $35. We are still in an upward channel, so that's nice to see. Pfizer in a downward channel. So here we are. We are at resistance with VWAP, but above that, at another level of resistance, 28.17, 28.35, and 28.52. VWAP 27.95. Middle of the trend and the lower channel of VWAP 27.82, 27.48, 27.30, and 27.13. Looking left, resistance, sell off, bounce at support, bounce at support. This turns into resistance. As far as the gaps go, this gap is still in play right here at 28.55. It opened up, on Friday? That would be Friday the 7th. And, oh, wait a minute, look at this. Boy, I'm glad I caught that. Let me move this. All right, I extend these gaps, as you know. I have no idea when it's gonna close, but I just carry it out to the following week when I make these videos. But this one touched out of the gate right here. Boom, done. 28.56, it eked out some more profits for you right there and then flushed to the south side as expected. So that's done. And that one's done as well, you can see. Now the next one I'm tracking is this gap. It's one gap at a time. We are not in the channel, not in the zone, not even close. Going down, moving farther away, but something to be aware of. And that gap will start at 29.05 to the north side, but again, not going in that direction. Boo-hoo. See, look at this. What happened here? Oh, I deleted that. That's why. Say something and started to get wonky on me. Nope, it's just operator error, and that would be me. So this is what we're looking at for this upcoming week. Starting here, going here, and unfortunately, still going down. So don't expect too much from this one. But hopefully, fingers crossed, we could slowly make our way sideways and then make our way slowly upward. But right now, we're not there. Pull out to the daily, the weekly, the monthly, so you can see what's happening in the bigger picture. The next one is TSLA. As I mentioned, I accidentally got out of this one because I forgot to move my sell limits. Got super busy and oops. Didn't do what I should do every day. Look at my targets. Excuse me. We ended the week at 1694. I still do have shares left. Resistance takes us to 1723, 1789 roughly, 1819 roughly, and when I give you price targets, it's a rough number, 1850. VWAP, 1680 in the blue. Support, 1660. 1628. 1596, that's my previous sell line. Previous buy-in, also at 1554 from a long time ago. And looking left from this past week, this gap developed. We ran up to resistance here, grinding along the middle of the trend, making another leg up. So this one is still in play for the upcoming week, taking us down to 1618. Then we also have this gap that's in play and this baby gap, but we are moving farther away from it, so that's good. I've purchased this at different times for myself and for my mom, and I have all the shares still for my mom. I typically try to let it ride for her, but I get in and get out more so for myself. Oh, I think with Pfizer, I'm up 20% for her. I'm debating whether I should get out because I don't want to get whipped out. All right, so that's to the south side. Did I do the north side? Yeah, I think I did, but just in case, right there, 1723, 1787, 1890, and 1850. I just had a Biden moment. So sorry. Try to do too many things looking at these charts. And this gap is still in play, taking us to 1771 for the upcoming week. And this gap closed right here to the downside at 1711, continued to fall. Didn't make it down here, but now we're starting to run, hopefully grinding along the middle of the trend. Either we go this way, or if I mark out my lines, we go that way. We either go this way or we grind up here. Let me delete that. Actually, it's the beginning of the week. I'm just going to leave that white line and see where we ride for TSLA. Rivian. Excuse me. Ugh. It's that stupid dry cough. I thought I was over it, and I'm not. It's not a cold. It's just a terrible cough. I did buy an air purifier, so if you can hear that buzzing, that's what that is. 1479 is where we ended, 0.96% to the upside. Resistance, 1495, 1560, 1594, 1628 to the south side, VWAP, 1450, lower channel and at -2 standard deviations, lower channel of VWAP, 1430, 1397, and 1362. Looking left, buy in at support, sell off at resistance. This gap is still in play, taking us down to $12, but we are moving farther away from this direction. And to the north side, the next target will be 1776. And if we continue to go up, 2 standard deviations will take us to the end of the week and possibly the following. But I'll just leave that right there for now. And that's Rivian. SoFi in a downward channel, so watch out. 647, 654, 661, 666. I already said, did I say VWAP? 646. Bottom of the channel there, close to -2 standard deviation, the middle of the trend, 642. -2 is 630. 624. SoFi is like bleeding out. 618, that's my previous buy-in line. Looking left, bounce at support, didn't quite make it to resistance, and this level of resistance, I should say, and then fell down. And the next target I'm looking at here is 744. Yeah, we tickled it here and then smashed down. To the upside, 786, and I don't think I have anything to the south side of that, so that's good. NEO, 642, down 5.13% to the north side. 472, 501, 517, 531. VWAP, 453. 442, 427, and if we go down here, that will wipe out that gap that takes us to 413 at 411. All right, so this gap is still in play. This gap is still in play. This gap is done, as you can see. Let me make this just a little bit bigger so you can see. I pulled it into this week, but it touched and kicked us out right here at 439. To the south side, that was 436. Delete so I don't get confused. That means that is no longer in play. Oh, and look at this one for NEO. Also done at 463. Okay, and now this is my next target at 487. I'll just extend this here. We are in an upward channel, thank goodness. Sell off at resistance. And then, oops, Command Z to reset. Okay, I just had some water. That takes us to 528. Nice upward channel. Moving farther away from those gaps to the south side. Okay, can this be the last one? Yes. I need to go get more water. All right, 173 is where we ended. 177, 180, 182 to the south side. 172, VWAP is also 172, 167, 165, and 162. Looking left, sell off at resistance, bounce there at support up to resistance. And what is this? The gap that I am going over will take us to 208. Oh, look, and we are in an upward channel, but when will we hit 2 standard deviations? The possibility could be, oh, the date isn't pulled out yet, but over here. Is that 2 weeks? Maybe 2 weeks from now? If we continue to go up. And that is it for me. That is a look at your gap and go trades for the week of July 8th through the 12th. And if there are any gaps that fill to the upside or perhaps gaps that fill to the south side, I will make an update video in the middle of the week. Have a great trading day.